Gut microbes are highly variable in different individuals, but the function they play is not the same. Actually, there's a lot of redundancy in the system. If you lose a particular strain, there is another strain that will take over that particular role. And how do they impact us health-wise? It largely depends on how healthy your gut is and how you take care of your gut. Studies have been able to link autism to microbiome, autoimmune diseases to microbiome. There are bacteria that travel to other parts of the body and cause diseases like lupus, rosette lupus, and even certain cancers. Stress and depression have also been linked to our gut microbiome. About 90% of your serotonin is actually produced in the gut. Inside the gut, you have a mucosal membrane, a protective layer barrier between your bacterial cells, food web, waste, and interstitial lining. As you all know, the brain engages in a constant communication with the gut. So your gut microbes, or our gut microbes, interplay the brain-gut axis. That's a communication between the central and enteric nervous system, linking the cognitive and the emotional centers with the intestinal function. So our gut microbes influences these interactions. Human studies have shown that stress increases gut permeability, allowing bacterial antigens to cross your bowel barrier, causing inflammation. If it is degraded, it has holes in it or perforated, bacteria can freely interact with your gut lining, which can cause immune response or lead to what we call a leaky gut. So food particles and bacteria may penetrate through the interstitial lining and access the stellar environment or your bloodstream and cause a variety of issues. For example, food allergies. Our gut microbes helps us absorb 10 to 15 extra calories from fiber, but a certain kind of bacteria or a certain type of bacteria called Firmicutes harvest more calories from fiber, which could lead to obesity or overweight, which are risk factors for diabetes, especially diabetes type 2. So studies that have been conducted have shown that patients with diabetes, they tend to have more Firmicutes within their gut. The same may also lead to a certain type of insulin resistance in the brain, associated with a variant gene of Alzheimer's called APOE4 gene. This gene seems to interfere with the brain's ability to utilize insulin. So the cells will starve and die, which will progress to Alzheimer's disease. And officially, Alzheimer's has been referred to as diabetes type 3. There are also certain bacteria called sulfur-reducing bacterias. These bacteria harvest sulfur in our diet and form hydrogen sulfide. That's a rotten egg smelling gas that normally escapes when someone farts. So the primary sources of sulfur are amino acids. For example, methionine and cysteine, primarily in animal protein. Hydrogen sulfide is not a good gas, that's why we fart to release it out. It can cause inflammation within our gut lining and lead to conditions like inflammatory bowel disease, for example, ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. Without forgetting other forms of cancer within our gut lining, other problems can result in case of dysbiosis or decreased variety of these gut microbes. Let's take, for example, H. pylori infection. H. pylori or Helicobacter pylori bacteria is considered as a part of our normal gut microbiota. But this bacteria can be potentially harmful and potentially infectious. In H. pylori positive patients, what this bacteria does, it decreases the amount of mucus that the stomach wall produces. It also increases the amount of acid that the stomach wall produces. It does so by changing the regulation of hormones that control secretion of gastric acid. So the stomach will have no mucus to protect itself, and it will start digesting itself. So this will lead to peptic ulcers. So peptic ulcers occur when there is an imbalance between the mucus that line the stomach lining and the amount of gastric acid in the stomach. Guys, I felt sick along the way, and I'm taking some medication, and I think I'm getting better. You can see my right cheek is somehow still swollen. Don't mind my right cheek. Okay, let's proceed. H. pylori is also responsible for certain adenocarcinomas in the stomach or multi-tumors. It has been found that people who are H. pylori positive, they have a high number of proteobacteria, which means that if you are H. pylori positive, the stomach or your gut diversity is low. Compared to people who are H. pylori negative, they have a diverse stomach. For example, you find the majority of the bacteria in the stomach will be actinobacteria, then Firmicutes, then proteobacteria, and then bacteroidetes. That's a diverse stomach. Decreased diversity increases the risk for many disease states. I had mentioned some of them earlier, but no harm in repeating them. Obesity, diabetes, cancers, certain neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, neuroinflammatory diseases like multiple sclerosis, and so on. Let's now look at the positive side of these bacteria. They have a positive role. They are vital for our survival. You remember when I said the majority of these bacteria are located in the colon, that's the large intestine. The colon serves as a site for absorption of water. The large number of bacteria absorb and produce important metabolic products for us to use and utilize. For example, they help us produce vitamins and minerals. Example of vitamins that are produced by colonic bacteria are vitamin K and vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 helps to keep the body's nerve and blood cells healthy and also helps in making DNA, the genetic material in all cells. Vitamin B12 also helps to prevent a certain type of anemia called megaloblastic anemia that makes people pale and weak. This type of anemia, red blood cells grow abnormally. On the other hand, vitamin K, the body needs it for blood clotting and wound healing. There's also an evidence that vitamin K helps to keep the bones healthy. In human beings, fermented products are absorbed in the colon. Both the small bowel and colonal mucosa readily absorb anionic short-chain fatty acids. This may include acetate, propionate, and butyrate, which are the most common, or the three most common short-chain fatty acids. So they are called short-chain fatty acids because they contain 1 to 6 carbons within their chain. So they play an important role in absorption and inflammation, and also in indigestion, which is also called dyspepsia. They play a number of different roles. So if there's a dysbiosis or dysregulation or lack of diversity, it means that you are more susceptible to different forms of diseases. Just as a reminder, I had earlier said that this gut microbes helps us obtain 10 to 15% extra calories from fiber. Without gut microbes, we wouldn't get anything from fiber because human beings cannot digest fiber. So they use fiber to produce butyrate, which is a fuel source for our intestinal cells to produce mucin, which helps repair our intestinal lining, our mucosal membrane, and also helps in reducing or regulating inflammation. Serotonin, a hormone that is known to promote feelings, including happiness and pleasure, although its manufacture is in the brain, where it performs its primary function. Some 90% supply of serotonin was found in the digestive tract. That's why people with unhealthy gut, you'll find them having episodes of depression, anxiety, mood swings, sadness. And guess who helps us produce this serotonin within our gut? You guessed it right, gut microbes. There is a theory that says that proteobacteria are the bad guys, or the bad bacteria. To be honest, as we have seen, these bacteria can neither be good or bad. So if you want them to impact you positively, it depends on how you take care of them. So a healthy gut means healthy gut microbes. It's like a mutual benefit, as I had said earlier. Take care of me and I will in turn take care of you.